Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, March 5th, 2018.
Commissioner Garcia, Repenning, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with the Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Hisan Kim from Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Frank Rinaldi with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Brad Jensen, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section, and we also received no speaker cards on any of the items for today's agenda. Just for the record, Commissioner Davis just joined the meeting as well. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Monday, February 12th, 2018 by Commissioner Repenning? Any objection? Without objection, those meeting minutes will be approved. We have a presentation this morning from the Bureau of Contract Administration. Our Business Source Center's Hannah Choi is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Bureau Managers. I'm so delighted to be here this morning to recognize our Business Source Centers who went through a very rigorous training in January. They attended 4 weeks of classroom training, and they had to take a final and pass the final. Not all of them did, so those who are here are the students from the Business Source Centers, their employees there, who passed the final exam and will be issued a certificate by the city. And the training was to have the employees at the 9 Business Source Centers learn all about certification. The world of certification is a very dizzying, very complicated array of certifications. We not only have the federal DBE, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, the airport concession DBE, as well as the city's small, women, minority, local, small local, and many other certifications, both race and gender neutral, and then programs that are based on the race and gender. So we were privileged to be able to spend 4 weeks with the Business Source Centers, and we've brought them here today so we can issue the certificates. I just want to acknowledge our mayor's office, who has really been involved in increasing the number of minority and women businesses who are certified so that more opportunities can be given to our businesses. And so we have this morning, let's see, Jennifer McDowell, and for the mayor's office of let me get this right, Budget and Innovation, we have Tanya Pinada, who's also here for Shamel Graham, who took the lead for Living Cities and was able to set aside some of the funding to help us support this program. So we're very blessed to have them here to encourage us. And Richard's not here this morning yet. He'll be joining us shortly. Hopefully he'll make it. Richard Pillay Jr. with the EWDD, who is the director over the Business Source Centers, and he'll be here to hopefully share some words. So,
Hannah, do you want us to go through a couple of voting items to wait for Richard and come back to him, or do you want to go ahead with the presentation now? We can do either one.
But he said he'd be here by 10:15. Do you think? Yeah.
Why don't we take a couple of voting items?
Sure.
And see if he can join
that would
us
be
in that
fine.
time. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thanks. We'll give him a couple of additional minutes. Let's go ahead and start with agenda item number 1, Bureau of Engineering Task Order Solicitation number EMGD 034, AECOM Technical Services, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task to AECOM from the pre-qualified on-call environmental documentation consultants list to provide environmental documentation services for the Pio Pico Pocket Park, say that one fast 5 times, and underground parking structure, the Pio Pico Pocket Park, As slated in task order solicitation number EMGD 034 with a budget authority of $200,000, which includes contingency. Amanda Amaral, hello there.
Hi. Good morning, Commissioners. My
Morning.
name is Amanda Amaral, and I'm from the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Management Group. Today, I'll be seeking the Board's approval to increase the budget authority on the task order solicitation EMGD-034 for the proposed Pio Pico Pocket Park project from $95,000 to $200,000 for environmental services. Also here is Herbert Guevara, the engineering project manager, who can answer any project design questions you may have. The Bureau of Engineering is proposing to construct a pocket park with a partially underground parking structure in Koreatown on the Pio Pico Library property. This is a densely populated and park-poor area. The park will be adjacent to the library building where there is currently a parking lot. For the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, we anticipate the required environmental documentation to be a mitigated negative declaration. A task order solicitation was issued to firms on the pre-qualified on-call list, in which all three firms, Parsons, AECom, and ICF, responded with project proposals. Cost estimates ranged from $135,000 to $190,000. The proposals were reviewed and scored. To expedite the work, an NTP was awarded to AECom, who had the most responsive proposal, for $95,000 under City Engineer Authority. Of note, AECom has exceeded the anticipated participation levels for the subcontractor outreach program, with 17.64% minority business enterprise and 4.92% women's business enterprise. Technical studies are currently underway and include a Phase 1 environmental site assessment, traffic, air quality, noise, biological, and cultural resource studies. This project has an opportunity to receive federal funding through a Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG grant. Federal funding triggers the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA. In this case, the city's Housing and Community Investment Department will be acting as the lead NEPA agency on behalf of the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. And now, we are asking the board to increase the budget authority from $95,000 to $200,000. The requested $200,000 includes a 48% contingency, as the NEPA lead agency must determine what, if any, additional studies may be required once the technical studies and reports have been completed and reviewed. If needed, the additional contingency will avoid potential project delays. If it is determined that the funds are not needed, they will be immediately released. We feel this is the most efficient way to move forward with the environmental review process. Thank you, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Amanda. Any questions at all? Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. Amanda, good job. In the briefing, we talked a little bit about the process of community involvement, and I feel that we've had a great process, so thank you, Herbert. And Dr. Rebstock over there, thank you for always taking care of, because CEQA is important, especially as we go underground, as there's Phase 1. But the most important thing is that we're able to plan with the community and their needs and their projected needs in mind. So happy we get a parking structure, all wrapped up into one. So I support this. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, I support the implementation of park space being built out, particularly in that area. As you said, it's very dense. And in terms of the contingency in which we are proposing to add, the reason for the amount of contingency in this case is because of the potentially unanticipated challenges that environmental issues can bring, in terms of maybe potential hazardous waste that we may not know about, that kind of thing. Is this the reason for the 48%?
Exactly. So NEPA, the lead agency, has to review the technical studies and reports, which are currently underway, And based on the results of those technical reports, they may have additional technical studies that they're requiring to fulfill the NEPA requirements and documentation.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anything further? Commissioner Sintos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 1. Any issues sending number 1 forthwith? We will send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Choi, your presentation.
Thank you again for giving us more time so Richard can join us. But I also wanted to mention with that the team at the Bureau of Contract Administration was led by Linda McGlinchey, who's the supervisor over certification and business inclusion program, and her staff, Rolando Tuasan, Claire Berriman, and Sean Shimoda Kobayashi. And then the ones who really put the educational material together and arranged for the training was Angela Tumbakan and Blair Bradley. So I just wanted to acknowledge our team as well. So let me bring up Richard Pillay Jr., who is the director of the Workforce Center and Contract Compliance from EWDD. And I don't think this is the last time we're going to be joining forces to do some good things for small businesses. It's been a pleasure working with you, and he really has a heart and passion for the small business community, and we're going to do everything we can to join forces and help them and really reach the small business community. So, yeah.
Good morning, members of the
Morning,
Commission. As already introduced, my name is Richard Pallay. I'm the director of the Los Angeles Business Source Center program. We are a CDBG-funded program. I work for General Manager Jan Perry, and as Hannah has already expressed, it's been an absolute delight working along with the Department of Bureau and Contract Administrations. What I've recognized as a director is that it's very, very important for us to take advantage of the procurement opportunities that exist for small businesses in the low to moderate income community, which is what our program is designed to serve. Each center receives $500,000 as a portion of the CDBG grant, and the vision I saw was we need to be involved in helping small businesses take advantage again of opportunities that exist. I know between LAWA and Metro alone, there's over $30 billion of procurement opportunities. And from what I understand, I believe countywide it's about $150 billion over the next 30 years of opportunity that exists. And it's very, very important for us, being the organizations within the communities, teaching our entrepreneurs that this is where they need to look to as the next direction, as an additional line of business, and possibly for their business growth and expansion in their communities. And I thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so we are going to call up each of the graduates. They're now going to receive the title as Certification Intake Specialist. What this allows them to do is meet with the small businesses, inform them about the various certifications, and then they will be able to attach their certificate to the package. So when our staff receive it, we'll know that this went through the Business Source Center. We'll know that the package is complete, and we'll be able to expedite the reviews. This will take a lot of, it will help us in that it'll save us a lot of time going back and forth with the businesses. Oh, you're missing this documentation, you're missing this. That will be avoided now because they will bring, right, graduates? They will make sure that the packets are complete so that when our analysts receive it, all they have to do is go through the documents. And I think this way we'll have a lot more businesses getting certified, available on Bavin, so that we can showcase them to not only our departments but our prime contractors as well. All right. So let me go through, and Linda will present. We'll start with Laizu. He's with the Hollywood Business Source Center, and then if you can line up that way, that would be great. And yeah. Oh, hi, John. Okay. Then from the South Valley Business Source Centers, we have Lorraine Garcia. And we have Maria Flores and Eric Lara, all three of them from the South Valley Business Source Center. And then from the East LA Business Source Center, we have Ruben Sanchez and Henry Leva. And then from the Mid-City, we have Wei Ling Chin and then Kathleen Hai. And then from Central West Business Source Centers, we have the two are unable to join us, but they are Swan Do and Nicole Jangani. Then from the South LA Business Source Center, we have Fernando Borja. And then from the West San Fernando Valley, we have Irene Vasquez. And then we have three from the North San Fernando Valley, Angelica Banuelos, Lorena Flores, and then Christy De La Torre. And then from the Valley Economic Center, we have Monica Guevara. And then we also have Sylvia Perez, who does both North and West centers. Okay, thank you. And then finally, we have Ruth Corrales from the Women's Business. So she's part of the Small Business Administration and joined us for the training as well. So thank you very much. John, would you like to?
Mr. Reamer.
Good morning, commissioners and department family. Real quick, we hear the mayor loudly and clearly when he talks to breaking down silos and partnering. And my mother had the saying, many hands make light work. This partnering effort here is our efforts to streamline the certification process, bringing the business source centers in. It's a fantastic partnership. The city will benefit, the businesses will benefit. It's all about streamlining. We certainly appreciate your support throughout all of this process. We've heard you loudly and clearly as well. And so this is just a small effort, but yet a large attempt to invest in making things happen and creating opportunity for our businesses. The whole notion of clear contracting, the A in clear, access to all of our stakeholders, this is the efforts here to make that happen. To the mayor's office, to the business source centers, and of course those at Public Works, we want to thank you for allowing us to do this.
Thank you, Mr. Reamer.
Commissioner, if I may, I asked our class valedictorian. We do have a valedictorian who scored perfectly on their final exam. It was a closed book final exam, mind you, so it was not easy. Not everybody passed, but I asked Lai to come up and give a few words about his experience. I put him on the spot today, so.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Lai Xu. I'm from MCS Business Source Hollow, and yeah, I got the perfect score, and I don't really expect that. To be honest, I studied till like 2 in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, because I have to stay with my newborn daughter. She just keep kicking and struggling, so I have to comfort her to bed, and then I'm just studying at the same time. But I think, like she helped me a lot. And, both I want to thank my family, I want to thank everyone here from Business Source, I want to thank the city, to support us. So I really wish we can have more, incoming training or coursework we can take, from the city, and I do really learn a lot from them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Commissioner Penning?
Sure. I just want to thank all of the graduates. Congratulations. We appreciate your hard work. For us, it's so important that the money that we spend as a department, our board votes on tens of millions of dollars every week to be spent on projects and on programs, and we want to make sure that that money is being spent as an investment into our community, and that we're partnering and engaging businesses that are part of our our local community. So it's really, we've been working with the mayor's office, with ConAd, over the last couple years on what we can do on our end in terms of creating better policies, so that we have our own policies internally that help guide and shape our ability to really partner with those businesses that are the fabric of our city. But we can have the best policies in the world, but unless we have the pool of people that are interested and connected to our contracting program, it won't matter. So at the same time, this effort to really grow the pool of people who are getting information about the many opportunities to work with the city has been so important. We can't do it on our own. I mean, we can only touch so many people with the great efforts of ConAd and all the outreach that you guys have been doing. So our ability to partner with other agencies is really key. And you guys are out there in the community working with business owners, working with people who are looking for opportunities. So I think this is a great partnership, a great example of really smart internal city collaboration, and we appreciate your support. It does matter, and you are actually really helping people in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. Commissioner Davis.
I would like to, first of all, thank our leadership, our Inspector General, John Reamer, our Associate Director, Hannah Choi, and especially Linda, who has done an outstanding job and analysis on all of our contracting evaluation. And in this job, I think that it is wonderful that we have been able to expand our purpose in terms of making sure that we can provide an infrastructure to include more businesses in certification and qualification. And when our contractors our prime contractors say they want us to help them to get more people who are qualified and certified, I think you have absolutely done it here. And I know the mayor has to be pleased, and certainly I am as a member of the board, that you have done this. And I look forward to the results of the fruit of the labor that you have put in today. And congratulations to each of those of you who will be responsible for making sure that we are a bridge and a doorway by which people can go through to do business with the city of Los Angeles. So I congratulate each of the graduates here today. And again, I thank our leadership for implementing this.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. To Hannah, to John, to Linda, the entire team, to Richard. You're the Pied Piper, actually, of small business, right? So we're going to put you on video and get a viral following around Richard Palais. This is great with our mayor's office, Jen and Tanya. This is interdependency. This is collaboration at its best. This is what our mayor has asked us to do, and it's a great affirmation that we're able to work together to create more capacity, to create a bigger pipeline so we can do more, we could serve more, we could spread more, we could have that back to basics of our future of all this prosperity will inure to very many diverse communities. When I look at the graduating class, you all are LA. And I'd ask, and you guys are all legit because you guys are closed books, so props to you. I'm going to ask that you take that quantitative knowledge of that and apply it in an empathetic and a human way so that we could remove barriers, so that we could say, how can I help you? Take yourselves as people, as servants, public servants, and really help as many people so we could do that. And I have no doubt that you will do that. We're going to send people your way, and we're going to do better for our city. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Garcia.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I just want to congratulate all of you standing here today, because as a small business owner, you're just going to make it so much easier for them to be successful. And that is the point here that we're doing. Sometimes at the city, we can make things a little complicated, but you guys are the bridge, the translators of this crazy, complicated piece that we have in the city, and you're translating it to small business owners, everyday small business owners that are really trying to do the best that they can at their business. And so I want to congratulate each and one of you for taking this course, for being the translators out in our community, either in whatever language. And that's the great thing as well, because our business owners speak everything, they serve everything, and they do everything as well. So I thank you all for taking this class. I thank you all for putting your heart in it and making, and I know some of you from out in the field, so I know that you guys are doing a great job out there, and your heart is out there as well. So I thank you for that, and I thank for all the leadership here, Hannah Choi. I've met you a few times now in my time here, and I appreciate everything that all of you are doing, especially for our small business sector that we have in our community. So congratulations to all of you. I'm very proud of being part of this. I'm very proud of doing the best that I can in my position, and I hope to do more with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. I'll just close by really thanking all of our partners. First of all, congratulations to all of you. And thank you for all the hard work that you've put into it, and we look forward to much more to come. Richard, please give our best to Jan Perry, and thank you to you and to Ms. Perry as well, and to EWDD for your support. Hannah and John, let's see, what are we, two out of 2 days or 2 out of 4 days, basically, when you think about the event we had last week, and then you're back here this week. So you guys are still hitting home runs. We like that. And Linda, thank you all for your work. And I saw Moby and Mox. That's our Mayor's Office of Budget and Innovation, and our Mayor's Office of City Services. Thank you all for your support as well. This is just great all the way around. What I would like to do, I think since you all are already standing here, I think we have room for a group photograph. We probably ought to go to the back. Or you think we ought to go to the back? Okay. Yeah, let's go to the back because of the number of people. We'll take a quick group photograph with our photographer, and then we will be back on our agenda.
He must have been working over the weekend.
Okay, let's get back on our agenda. Agenda item Number 2 is also it's a revised task order solicitation number 4 for WLC Architects Incorporated for Fire Station number 39 and Council District number 6. Recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task for solicitation number 4 to WLC, increasing the budget authority from $772,337 to $1,012,727 for construction support services. On number 2, Mr. Kawaguchi, is that you?
Morning, Commissioners and Bureau Managers. Yes, my name is Alan Kawaguchi. I'm the Program Manager for Proposition F, the fire bond facilities. The City Engineer is requesting that we increase the task by an approximate number of about $240,390,000, which takes the task order that we have with WLC Architects from $772,337 to $1,012,727. The reason for the increase is several folds. The task order was originally negotiated with WLC Architects back in 2011. At the time when we were negotiating the task order, we had assumed or anticipated that the construction of the project would be started by about 2014. Since that time, the project was advertised 3 times, mainly due to constituent lawsuits.
We remember.
On July 2014, we advertised it, July 2016, and finally on January 2017, and with the board, we finally awarded the project in 2017. We started construction in May of 2017. WLC has exhausted all of their past contingency numbers, and that was because of helping us to re-advertise the project, putting it back through building and safety because of the long time of pulling our permits, as well as incorporating comments that we were getting from both our negative declaration, our EIR, in terms of trying to get the project up to speed. The other thing is that now that we're into construction, we're approximately a little less than a year into construction. We have about another year and maybe another 16 months left of construction. What WLC Architect has noticed is that we are getting a high volume of submittals, typically for project. And so anyway, they anticipated that when they negotiated this construction management support, they anticipated about 4 to 6 hours per week that they would be spending. Currently, they're spending around 40 hours a week. The amount of submittals that we're getting from the contractor, today we're at about 750 submittals that we're getting in right now. Typical project for fire stations of this magnitude, we see anywhere from 350 to 400, so we're seeing double the amount. So based on that, the architects have been asking that they be given some kind of compensation because they said they can't keep up at this pace. Their MBEW pledge as of their last invoice, they're at 12.95 for MBE and 3.17. This is an older contract where we have a pledge of 12 and 2. With the amount of money that were added, they still pledge they will still meet the 12%, and they'll get about a 2.5% for WBE. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, Alan. I remember it all.
Well, just to let you know that the $240,000 also contains a $60,000 contingency number in it.
Right.
And that's because as we begin the sound wall construction, which will actually begin this June, we're anticipating that we're going to get a lot of pushback from the constituents, and so we probably need the architect on hand to either address changes on the wall if we need it.
I think that's fair, yeah, and a fair assumption. Any questions at all? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much.
Objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2 and issue sending number 2 forthwith. We will send number 2 forthwith. Agenda item, let's go ahead and move to number 4, Mr. Tyson. Tree removal, Council District 12, 8350 through 8430 North Reseda Boulevard. Recommending that the board first certify that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the mitigated negative declaration, the MND, for the project at 8350 through 8430 North Reseda Boulevard, and find the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals. 2, find that the project will not have a significant environmental effect under the above described MND, as the imposition of the mitigation measures described in the MND and incorporated herein as project conditions, and that there is no substantial evidence that the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment pursuant to the city's environmental guidelines and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Number 3, find that the project's conflict with any local policies or ordinances protecting biological resources. such as tree preservation policies or ordinances, is less than significant, with the incorporation of mitigation measures BIO1 as contained in the MND. Number 4, adopt the MND. Number 5, specify that the Bureau of Street Services, Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is the custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 6, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 18 street trees of various species. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson on number 4.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. Harridge Cadillac Group Limited Liability Corporation is demolishing the existing structure and constructing and maintenance of a maximum of 140 residential dwelling units and 10,300 square feet of commercial area. The project will consist of 61 small lot homes and 2 mixed-use buildings, which will consist of 79 dwellings and 10,300 square feet of ground floor commercial space. The small lot homes will consist of 1 subterranean level and 4 stories above grade and will have an appropriate height of 45 feet. The project will provide approximately 175 automobile parking spaces for the 2 mixed-use buildings and 122 automobile parking spaces for the small lot homes. As part of the conditions to build under tentative track 73641 and city planning case, the developer is required to perform reconstruction of a new sidewalk, curb, gutter, and partial cul-de-sac to provide a 35-foot curb radius cul-de-sac on the North Canby Avenue side of the site. Mitch Canada, property owner's representative, contacted the Bureau of Street Services requesting the project site be inspected to determine the relationship between the proposed construction and the adjacent street trees. A Bureau arborist inspected the location on October 2nd, 2017, and the inspection revealed 1 crepe myrtle tree, number 25, 1 purple leaf flowering plum tree, number 23, and 1 red flowering gum tree, number 26, growing on the North Reseda Boulevard Avenue street side in 4-by-4-foot wells. In the rear of the property, on the North Canby Avenue side, the site next to the street, there's 1 lemon-scented citrodorus eucalyptus, tree number 8, 1 Southern California black walnut, tree number 9, 3 Brazilian pepper trees, 10, 11, and 11A, 3 California pepper trees, 15, 17, and 18, 4 Aleppo pine trees, 13, 14, 16, and 16A, 1 multi-trunk Mexican fan palm, number 19, 2 evergreen ash trees, number 21 and 22. All listed trees are in poor to fair condition, measuring approximately 5 to 72 inches in diameter by 12 to 60 feet in height, growing in 4-foot tree wells and a 7-foot unimproved parkway on the Reseda Boulevard and in an open unimproved parkway on Canby Avenue. 10 trees, number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21, and 22 are located in the footprint of the proposed new sidewalk. 4 trees, number 16, 17, 18, and 19 are located in the proposed construction of the 35-foot curb radius cul-de-sac, and the remaining 4 street trees will be impacted by related street improvements. Therefore, the related sidewalk improvements, radius cul-de-sac, and related street improvements will require or necessitate the trees' removals. Jonathan Cotto, 12th Council District Office, was informed of the tree removal request on February 13, 2018. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on October 2, 2017. The proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee was notified. If approved, the applicant shall plant a total of 38 36-inch box-sized trees in 4 feet by 6 feet tree wells. The applicant shall plant 9 36-inch box-sized Chinese flame Coleoptera bipinata trees in the rear of the site on North Canby Avenue, and plant 12 36-inch box-sized pink trumpet trees in front of the site on North Reseda Boulevard. The remaining balance of 17 trees shall be planted in vacant tree wells at the following locations. along North Reseda Boulevard and adjacent streets between Sherman Way and Nordhoff Street. There shall be one Australian willow planted at 7355, 7419, 7451, and 7509. There's plant 2 pink trumpet trees at 7600 and 7625. Plant 1 pink trumpet tree at 7631, 7850, 7947, 8155, and plant 3 pink trumpet trees at 7756 through 7760. Also, 2 pink trumpet trees will be planted at 18440 Roscoe Boulevard on the Reseda Boulevard side. All tree replacements shall be provided watering or irrigation for a minimum of a 5-year period after planting. And so with that, all the trees will be replaced right at the site or right around in the general vicinity right there or on Reseda Boulevard.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tyson. Any questions at all on agenda item number 4? Commissioner Repenning?
So the general numbers of what we're taking out versus what we're putting back in
Yes,
is 18 we're taking out.
and 30, what did I say, 36 or 38?
Said 38.
Correct, we're going to have 38
Do you have a
trees going
protected
back in.
tree?
There is one Juglans californica that's in the parkway. When it's a tree in the parkway, just like all the other trees that are protected because it takes a permit to do anything with any tree in the parkway. That doesn't mean that it's a protected tree under the protected tree ordinance, but we're going to have them mitigate that tree 4 to 1 because it's questionable.
Okay, great. I appreciate
Meaning it's
that.
probably naturally occurring and it's really probably would fall under 177404. As all these trees here on the Canby Avenue side are trees that planted themselves and some were planted and they're all in an unimproved parkway. So, but the applicant is going to plant all the trees, going to water them. We found all the locations and there'll be 2 extra trees planted.
Great. Thank you for your work in getting all the tree replacements back on that site. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Anything further? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4. Is there a second by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 4. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 4 forthwith? We will send number 4 forthwith. Agenda item number 3 is a task order solicitation number 007 to Fugro USA Land Incorporated, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Fugro from the pre-qualified on-call geotechnical and environmental consultants list to provide groundwater monitoring and related services for the Piper Tech project, as stated in the task order solicitation number 007, with a budget authority of $62,421, which includes contingency. Mr. Mulhern is here today.
Good morning, Commissioners and Bureau Heads. I was asked by Commissioner Jacinto to present, before I get to Piper Tech, a brief overview of the underground tank program and why we do it. If you have 5 minutes, I'd be glad to do that at this time.
I'm sorry?
I was asked by Commissioner Jacinto to present a little history and
Sure, go
background
ahead.
of the underground tank program. Okay. It was started in the mid-'80s, starting off with the federal Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, or RCRA, that got the impetus going. Before that, the oil industry basically had its own regulations with the single-wall tanks, and they found out that a lot of tanks and pertinent structures such as piping and dispensers were leaking, about a third of them statewide. So the feds started off, and they directed the EPA to also add the hazardous and solid waste amendments in the early 80s. The state took over in the state of California and promulgated several laws in the mid-'80s that we follow today, including California Code of Regulations Title 23, which regulates underground tanks, Title 22, which regulates groundwater and the pollution thereof. It also includes parts of the Health and Safety Code, the Water Code, and even health and safety training for the workers under Cal OSHA. And in the late 1988, they established the regional groundwater control boards, including the Los Angeles one that we report to. And they also issued the Luft manual, that's the leaking underground fuel tank manual, sort of a guidebook that we've all followed over these years. And the only new policy recently is they have a statewide online database called GeoTracker, so we have to upload all our reports and so on to that, so anyone can go to this and see what we've done, what kind of contamination is there, and so on. And that's part of the costs that we build in, because the consultants upload those. So that's sort of the legal background. The city had a team starting in the late 80s. The architectural division of Bureau of Engineering was the project manager and designed all the tank replacements. And we'll get into the numbers in a few minutes. The geotech group that we're in had a couple of roles. We found what were called clean sites. In other words, where they wanted to move the tanks, they would give us a couple preferential locations. We would drill and sample there to make sure those were clean in case the sites that they removed the tanks were contaminated. If they were contaminated, if it's a small amount, the fire inspector would allow 1 or 2 scoops of soil to be removed, but if the contamination was deeper or more laterally distributed, they said, okay, stop excavation. Geotech would come in and do what's called a site assessment, a phase 2 site assessment. That's where we drill and take samples, have them analyzed to come up with a 3-dimensional picture of the contamination plume, that is the depth and the areal extent, and whether or not it got to groundwater. There were some other people, other groups in this various team. Street services and sanitation came periodically because they had ideas about where some of their larger sites should be replaced. ConAd was there, and ultimately Department of General Services was sort of the owner. They acquired these new tanks. General Services in 1988 started the Fleet Re-Engineering Division, where the idea was to cut down the number of tanks in the city. So at one time they had over 525 underground tanks at 250 different sites. And we're just talking city-owned sites, not the proprietary, water and power. They have their own issues. And they decreased the number of tanks down to about 136, and then the various bond issues in the previous years increased those up to about 150 or so. So we started off with 525 underground tanks at 250 sites. About a third of them, or about 170, were contaminated, or they had leaked and caused contamination. We did site assessments on some of those, showing that there was just a small amount of contamination, that no actual remediation was necessary. It wasn't threatening neighbors or worker safety. And out of that 170 sites, we're left with about 10. We achieved case closure, or what they call a no further action letter from the state on 160. So we're left with about 10 sites. And I say about because a few of them are sort of in the back burner. We've done everything that we have, and we're still waiting to hear from the regulatory agencies. Or the regulatory agencies have shifted the sites back and forth and can't decide on who's going to do what, so we just kind of stand back at that time. So we're working on about 10 sites that you'll see me come every year. And I do come every year because this is called the Underground Tank Soil Mitigation Budget from the CAO, and they only give me 1 year's worth of money at a time, even though I could ask for 5 or 6. But it works out okay because sometimes we get case closure, sometimes more contamination is found if the client at the site adds new tanks. So it is a changing program. So we're left with about 4% of the tanks. Some of the methods that we got case closure, most of them were kind of conservative. In other words, we were saving the city money by just doing site assessments and showing that we didn't have to rip up the sites. A lot of these are police stations and fire stations, so there's an issue with disruption. We don't want to excavate if we don't have to. We've also used soil vapor extraction, where we basically put wells into the soil and suck out, basically a giant vacuum cleaner, bring that contaminated vapors out, put them through a carbon or other filter to make sure we're not emitting anything. And we basically run that for a couple of years, and that's relatively unobtrusive for the site. We've gotten case closure on several of those. Also, another is in situ bioventing, where it's sort of just the opposite. We put in a bunch of wells and pump just regular air into the ground, and that energizes the bugs, the bacteria in the ground, and and they can eat the hydrocarbons. And it's a very low-tech and very inexpensive way. You just have a small blower about the size of this piece of paper in the corner of a fire station, and then just some piping. You probably remember Gaffey Street a couple years ago. I was working on that. We got case closure based on that. Another method is oxygen release compound. Basically, it's a toothpaste-like material. We put in a large fabric sock, that we call it, and put that into the groundwater and just let that emanate out over the years, and the oxygen in there will oxidize the hydrocarbons. We've done quantitative risk analysis. In other words, we look at all the receptors and methods of transport and come up with calculations of somebody living at the site for X number of decades, only going on 2-week vacations. In other words, if they were there that long, would they get more than a 1 in a million risk of getting cancer? And if the answer is no, then a lot of times the regulatory agencies would allow us to leave a certain amount in place. And we also combine that with other methods. The YOU school, also known as the Rita Walters Learning Complex, we did both some excavation of the easily removed material. We did some gas barrier and detection systems as well, so sometimes we use a hybrid method. And also we've handled a lot of hydraulic hoists and other type of material. So that's sort of, in a nutshell, what we've been doing in the underground tank program at the Geotech Group over the years. Are there any questions on the general technique before I move on to Piper Tech?
Very interesting, though. Thank you, Mr. Mulhern. I appreciate it. Commissioner Davis?
You said that we have an inventory of around 170 tanks overall, and 160 of which, 10 of which we...
Well, we had about 170 sites that were dirty, and we got case closure on about 160 sites.
Correct.
Now, as you'll see, some sites have more than one tank. This Piper Tech I'm going into has about 9 at this point. At one time they had, I think, 14 because, you know, there's a heliport there, so we've had helicopter fuel, there's hydraulic fluid, there's solvents, as well as fuel hydrocarbons. Your average police station or fire station may only have gasoline.
Sure.
So there's about 10 projects or sites left out of 170 that were contaminated.
And this is where we did a quantitative analysis on those 10, is that correct? Or did we
Well, we're still working on those, and we're doing a variety of methods, including just monitoring. The quantitative methods, those are 5 or 6 that we've already gotten case closure from.
Sure. And what tanks of our inventory did we choose for the quantitative analysis?
Well, they were sites where it wasn't amenable to dig up. In other words, there wasn't a shallow, easily accessible. Maybe the plume was going under a building a bit, and we couldn't tunnel under the building. Or, in general, the contamination was not that high a concentration that it would require vapor extraction or some of the other more aggressive methods.
I see. So that I was really trying to figure out the implementation of that as it relates to the 10 that are inconclusive, I guess, at this point that we've not closed yet.
Right.
But I hear that that is not necessarily what we did in terms of employing quantitative analysis on those.
That's
so of
correct.
the 10 that are inconclusive, do we have some timeline in terms of our goal to conclude those, or is it the kind of work that you can't predict the duration of the...
Basically the latter. It's hard to predict because sometimes the ground doesn't react the way you hope it will, and also the regulators don't react how you hope they will. Sometimes you think that you're almost there, you submit the case closure request, and they keep pushing you back. Other times they give us case closure without even asking. They just look at the data we get and say, okay. So it's hard to predict, really. I imagine some of these will get, every year we get 1 or 2 sites case closure. So I'm hoping that 1 or 2 that you'll see me in the next couple of weeks will get another 1 or 2.
Well, I'm glad that Commissioner Jacinto asked you to come to report on this. I think it is critically important, particularly around the 10, the impact on the public health.
Yes.
And certainly I would be concerned, as would be all residents of Los Angeles, in terms of the potential impact to cause harmful diseases, if you will, for those that we are not able to close. So this is critically important work, and certainly all of us here urge you to continue to do that work and come to some closure on the last 10.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So yes, agenda item number 4 more specifically, or number
Specific
3
to
more
Piper
specific.
Tech, we have a new consultant, Fugro, and we're asking for a budget authority of $62,421 to do 1 year of quarterly monitoring. We have 13 wells at the site. Groundwater is down about 35 feet or so. It's not particularly bad, so we've been a little conservative on this site as well. We also have a contingency to do free product removal. In other words, 1 or 2 wells sometimes has a little bit of floating diesel on it, so we have a contingency in there for either to skim that up periodically and remove it, or we have that floating sock in there which absorbs it. Other than that, we're a little low on MBE, but we're very high on WBE and SBE, and we hope to increase the MBE when we do some drilling and sampling for the confirmation. At that time, we have more of an opportunity to use MBE firms with the drillers. That's my
Any questions on number 3? I don't think we have any more questions. Commissioner Sintos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3. Commissioner Davis has seconded it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Mr. Mahern, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it today. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We will send number 3 forthwith. Agenda item number 5 is, those are all the voting items, correct, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mr. Campos? Number 5 is our quarterly oral report on city trees from the Bureau of Street Services. Mr. Tyson, here you are again.
Here I am. Commissioners, Bureau representatives, the UFD contract status update. The current annual budget allows for approximately 25,000 trees to be trimmed. The tree trimming contracts are 1-year contracts with city's option to renew for 2 additional years. The first-year option for fiscal year 16-17 was exercised, and all but 2 contracts have been completed at this time. The remaining 2 are expected to be completed within the next 2 weeks. The division exercised and executed the second-year option for 3 contracts for fiscal year 17-18, and the division is preparing to present the second-year option for the remaining contracts in the upcoming weeks. Staff are currently developing contracts for the upcoming 3 fiscal years, 2018 through 2021. The Bureau is preparing the contracts for bids and expect to award prior to May of this year. That's what we're hoping for. We're trying to get to where the trees are being trimmed in the fiscal year that the money is being allocated, and that's why we tried the 1-year with 2-year option for 3 years, and now we're going to try it one more time. We do have one contracted as a single-year contract, and that's for Council District 11. During the month of July, the Bureau executed 4 landscape maintenance contracts for all landscape median islands. Contract forces continue to provide biweekly service to all the landscape medians identified on contract and under the Bureau's purview. This is the first year of a 3-year maintenance contract, and service appears to be going very well. The division had over 2,795 total calls for emergencies related to work that were all completed. The division also closed 1,003 obstructions and trimmed 2,132 trees to accomplish this task. The division continues to strive forward in reducing the response time for emergency services. Current response time is 0.8% of 1 day. This is the same as the last reported response time to include storms taking place during the reporting period. The division has been in the green for over the last year or more with regards to our ComStat figures, where we have ComStat meetings and we go over all of our response times for every emergency that we get a request for. And we've been in the green, which means we're in the money. the 1 million on-demand funds. 3 years ago, they gave us $500,000 to do.
I got the humor there, Mr. Tyson, just in case you thought.
It's a little bland, but it was
Slid
there.
by
Yeah,
me, but
good.
I'm with you this morning. Go
Okay,
ahead.
good. Actually, 4 years ago, we started with we call it on-demand funds, and what that is, commissioners, is a certain amount of the contract money was given to us to do tree work for all council districts, that they could request what they wanted to have done, rather than we set up the contracts and we identify where the largest need is for tree trimming. This gives them an opportunity to, when it was $500,000, it was $66,666 per council office. And so the first 2 years was $500,000 per year, and we did so well that they gave us $1 million on the third year. And the fourth year, they've given us $1,176,000. So we continue to work for all the CDs right now. And it's approximately 500 trees, depending on the size of the trees. The estimated amount of $850,959 has been used at this point, and we've trimmed 5,122 trees to date at an average cost of $166 per tree. Well, that's just direct costs. That's on the weekends when all the overheads are paid, and it's just a straight time, which is what gives the council offices a really good deal because they get more done, and then our employees get a chance to work overtime to do the work. In March of 2017, we were given a budget request grant to start a tree removal crew. This designated tree crew focuses strictly on the removal of dead and diseased city parkway trees. The crew rotates to all of the council district areas to ensure needed tree removals are performed equally citywide. This crew removes the entire tree and stump and at the same time, which allows for a potential planting site to be planted. During this quarter, this crew completed 184 tree removals and 206 stumps. The total for this fiscal year now is 541 tree removals and 510 stumps. The goal for the crew for the year, the fiscal year, is 800, so we're nearing that completion. Technology. In January 2018, the Urban Forestry Division deployed an additional 22 Samsung tablets to supervisors and field crews. This has allowed for better customer service. The use of the tablets has increased the speed and capacity of tree inspectors to look at requested service locations in real time. Furthermore, the use of tablets continues to improve the emergency tree crew's ability to provide an average response time at or below 0.8% of a day, 0.8 of a day. Urban forestry training. The division continues to train its staff, including a 3-part module for supervisors to include topics on policy, permits, native protected trees, and tree trimming contract management. Supervisors recently attended the quarterly meeting to cover Cal OSHA record keeping and accident reporting and Cal OSHA site inspections. Additional topics covered were environmental regulation, code of safe work practices, and workers' comp and return to work programs. Staff has been attending outside training seminars to keep current with the industry standards, and additional training of staff are using online training resources. The division has currently 143 staff, including the latest hire of an administrative clerk to support our operations. The 11 assistant tree surgeons from LA Trade Tech are working with training staff to develop the skills necessary to pass their probationary period. The Urban Forestry Division interviewed candidates for positions to Tree Surgeon Supervisor 1 and Tree Surgeons. The Urban Forestry Division is currently hiring 4 Supervisor 1s and 3 surgeons to fill vacant positions from the candidates interviewed. The current sidewalk repair program stats. Bid package 23 consists of 23 sites. One site, 1027-750 South Spalding, was approved by this board on February 5th, 2018. Total of 12 trees and stumps were removed. Bid package 6 consists of 6 sites. 5 trees and stump removals were completed at site 1146, 5 trees and stump removals were completed. Site 1146 had 2 tree removals, Site 1279 had 2 tree removals, and Site 1316 had 1 tree removal. Bid package number 7 consists of 18 sites, 24 tree removals, 23 dead tree removals, and 94 pending replants. The Bureau of Engineering summary: contractors have removed 29 trees from July 17 to present. Total of 58 replants are required. The Bureau of Street Services summary: the Bureau of Street Services has removed 57 trees from July 2017 to present. There are 114 pending tree replacements. UFD is currently watering 497 trees citywide planted by this program. The SRP partners have planted 335 trees of that 497, and the Bureau of Engineering has planted 162 trees of that 497. The sidewalk rebate request: UFD has issued 14 tree removal permits from December 17 to present. UFD has inspected 40 rebate request sites, and on the access request assessments, the Urban Forestry Division inspected 41 access request locations from December 2017 to present. UFD has inspected 246 total access request locations since the start of the program. And that ends my quarterly report, unless you have questions.
We probably ask this every quarter, Tim, but just refresh my recollection. Does our budget proposal ask for an increase in tree trimming related to our crews, not contract tree trimming?
Yes.
On demand?
Yes, Commissioner James, as far as the on-demand goes, that's if we get that additional funding again next year, we can do that. But what we're requesting is, in our budget package, is an additional tree trimming crew. Now, we requested a tree trimming crew and a dead tree removal crew a couple years ago, and I'm still waiting for the equipment, which is just now starting to show up. I was able to take equipment from all the other crews and assemble the dead tree removal crew, but I don't have enough equipment to put together the tree trimming crew, and yet I have overstaffed a couple of our other crews, and we are still bringing in the numbers for that tree trimming crew, even though they don't have that equipment. So we are requesting another tree trimming crew so that we can up the total number of trees per year being trimmed by 4,000 trees just for one crew to be hired, and the equipment. Plus, there'll be a lot more versatility when emergencies happen and those kind of things.
Okay. And you're seeing me for something else after this meeting, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I got a couple of things I want to discuss with you on related to all this, not on the record. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, I'm sure we'll see you next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we close, we have an adjourning motion this morning from Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President, and distinguished members of the board and leaders of Public Works. I am adjourning in memory of Geneva Cox, who was a longtime employee of the City of Los Angeles from Council District 10, served as a district director as far back as David Cunningham, where she served during his tenure, and also continued her service as district director of the 10th District under the leadership of Councilman Nate Holden. Geneva Cox was born in Muskogee, Oklahoma, in August of 1929. To Maddie and Lloyd Evans. She was raised in Kansas City, Kansas, and attended Kansas University, where she was the first African-American homecoming queen. She was hired as the first female deputy sheriff in Wyandotte County, Kansas Sheriff's Department. She was the widow of James Cox Jr. She was the mother of 4 children: Julie, Michael, Craig, Stephen, who was deceased, and a stepdaughter, Leslie Mariner. During her years in Los Angeles, Mrs. Cox served 2 terms as PTA president of Alta Loma Elementary School and on PTA boards at Mount Vernon Junior High School and Los Angeles High School, and worked with the Ebony Showcase Theater and Cultural Arts Center, which is now known as the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. She was the founder of Consolidated Community Action Association, Concerned Citizens for Better Government, Mid-City Chamber of Commerce, the 10th District Women's Steering Committee, of which she was one of the founding members, and the 10th District Ministerium. She was a sponsoring member of the Black Women's Forum, a charter member of the LA section of the Coalition of 100 Black Women, served on the board of directors of the Wilshire Community Police Council, and on the Women of Religious Achievement. She's been a member of the Urban League and Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the League of Women Voters, and Women For. She was the historian of the 10th District Women's Steering Committee, and she was a member of our Author Study Club, Women for Wesson, and a soror of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and was a life member of the National Council of Negro Women, the Los Angeles section of NCNW, and also a life member and a member of the Life Members Guild of the NAACP, New Frontier Democratic Club, and of course the National Council of Negro Women. She was the recipient of many outstanding community service awards, including one from United Way Angel Award and the Crenshaw Service Center, as well as the Wilshire Council PTA. She was very active in First Presbyterian Church of Los Angeles, had several grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and her work will certainly sorely be missed. And it is my honor to commemorate the life of public service that Geneva Cox gave not only to this community, but specifically to the city of Los Angeles. And thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. We will adjourn in Ms. Cox's honor, and we are so adjourned.